point to me. Well, Craig, I feel a little chill in the air in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Feels a little bit like winter. Feels a little bit of a nip on my nose. Finally got cold. This is Through a Therapist's Eyes. We're going to call it a Christmas special. Mr. Craig Graves, may I be maybe one of the first to say Merry Christmas to you?
Yeah, man. Merry Christmas, buddy.
You know?
A Christmas episode.
Pretty cool, huh?
It is.
You know, it's a really cool time of the year. And I hope everyone out there is having a great holiday season. I think that, for the holidays in my office and what I'm aware of is that, for a lot of people, it's a really tough time of year. And so right out the gate, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody that's listening and a Happy New Year. And I hope and pray for all of us that are struggling, all of us that are having a rougher time. Things oftentimes get on our mind at this time of year. And I hope that even if you're in a tough spot out there, that you can find some moments inside yourself to enjoy some downtime and some quiet and some family time and celebrate the reason for the season and Christmas in general. Craig, this is Through a Therapist's Eyes, the podcast. You are Mr. Craig Graves still, I believe, and I am Chris Gazdick. We invite you to see the world through the lens of a real mental health and substance abuse therapist with the goal to create emotional growth, being aware that it's not the delivery of therapy services in any way. Feedback and discussion on throughatherapist'seyes.com, the blog tab. Craig, this is Through the Holidays Still, the emotional human experience. What shall we do?
Figure this thing out together.
All right. You know, it's trippy, man. We're getting ready to go into the decade of 2020. It's been tripping me out. I'm going to tell you why. Right? You and I grew up about the same time and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear the term roaring 20s? The roaring 20s.
Yeah.
All I could think of is I was a kid thinking, oh my God, how did those people live back then? The roaring 20s. They must have been weird people. They had a weird way of life. Well, do you realize in 100 years they're going to be looking back there that way, maybe like that at us? We're in the 20s.
This is a show about hope, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, I hope we make it another 100 years.
Yes, sir. This is a show about
as a human race. I know I won't be around in 100 years, but
yeah, absolutely. Listen, so we did do a little bit of an audible. I was doing some show prep. Craig, I'm way ahead of show prep now. That's kind of the good outcome of this. I put a lot of effort into these shows because we're doing, we record 2 at a time now. We're trying out that format and I really wanted to do a good follow-up on our last episode. I thought that was an interesting thing. By the way, Craig, I really enjoyed the discussion. I felt we had really good back and forth with that article that we chronicled about mass shooting events. And so I thought a really good follow-up to that one would be talking about Asperger's disorder. You ever hear of Asperger's before?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
You have, good, yeah. So I want to tell you that's where we're going to go next week, I think, because it's a good follow-up in that issue, and I tend to kind of think in chunks of time that way, but I just, I got done with all the show prep, and I thought, well, wait a minute, man, this is coming out on Christmas Day. We got to do something for Christmas and the New Year's season and everything. And I thought, man, what a cool topic and what a cool time to talk about something that I think is a big mental health issue, but not so much one we deal with in direct terms in therapy, maybe I would say. Probably need to a little bit more. But hopefulness. How to create hopefulness. How to create hopefulness for the new year and all year. How's that for a title?
I think it's good. I think it's a great topic. I think there's a lot of hopelessness in the world. I mean, you're the therapist. You tell me, but it seems like people are financially strapped, and some people are strapped with their health, and I think hope is a good thing to have. Sometimes I see people who seem hopeless.
I forget what show we did, and I try to make a lot of our shows really, partly so they're not, cherry-picked, and I'll listen to this one and I'll listen to that one. I try to make a lot of the shows and think about them in a way that we all can benefit for and from. And so when you're talking about anxiety, it's a lot about a condition of anxiety, but we all have anxiety. There was another one that we did, the imposter syndrome. I think we all have insecurities. We do shows on marriage, but we throw in there all the stuff about attachment and relationships because we all have them. Gosh, this one is a really easy one to kind of have a framework of thinking about how we want to talk about this topic because, man, everyone, I would say, struggle. And I don't use those words, man. Everyone, always, forever, never, every time, you never, these type of statements, because they ain't usually accurate. Dang, man, I think everyone struggles with hopelessness at times.
I'm sure, yeah. Everybody probably does at certain times.
And if you ask people, how do you create hopefulness, I don't think they have a good answer. I'd like to take if we did like a live chat on the show or whatever, and just tell people, go ahead, pop in your thoughts there, pop in your statements, see what comes up as we're going. I don't think we'd get many responses.
Probably not, I'm sure.
They'd really have to think about it. I don't know. How do you create hopelessness? Hopefulness? How do you create that actively? How do you choose, I want to feel hopeful, and go about doing that? And I'm going to submit to you that we can.
I think we can too. I'm interested to hear what you think about it, but I believe that's true.
I think it's hard. So let's launch, man. Let's look at what this thing is, why we need to have it, what happens when we don't have it. The who of the matter is really like all of us, right?
Yeah, I think it is.
And as with last show, we'll really kind of focus in pretty in-depthly, I think, on the how. How do we create that stuff? How do we get into a state with that? So let's go, man. Let's go. Let's see how we go and get good back and forth on this, because I think you got a lot of thoughts and all about these things. Matter of fact, I enjoyed our short. You guys, if you hadn't listened to it, we might be putting out a little bit of short we just played around with before Mike's turned on. So I got to hear some of your thoughts. But Mr. Craig Graves, let me ask you a question. What is hopefulness?
Well, I've been cheating. I've looked at your show notes here already. So it's optimism about a future event. Hopefulness and confidence about the future or the successful outcome of something.
It says Google. Yep. And then I looked at Google with that, and I said, look at the definition. Optimism about a future event. And then what's the definition of optimism? Hopefulness and confidence about the future.
Well, that's kind of funny, right?
Right?
Yeah.
That's how we define it. It's like, do we know what it really is like? I got to thinking as I looked at that, and honestly, this show, by the way, man, this is really just kind of me sitting down and really brainstorming. This is another one of these ones that I really enjoyed because I just sat down and thought about it. These are really pretty much real fresh, my thoughts. So if I missed stuff, I probably did, but I think we got plenty of thoughts that we have for material. It's just my brainstorm. But isn't it interesting, right? Do we really even know what an experience of hopefulness is? Can we put words on what we experience?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to put words on it, but I think everybody knows what hopefulness is. I mean, if you've ever been a kid and hoped for a Christmas present, or if you've ever hoped that a date went well, or if you ask somebody out, you hope they say yes. I mean, everybody knows what hope is, right? I hope I win the lottery. I mean, hope's a pretty common, easy thing to. That's a pretty. Is it an emotion? I guess it's an emotion, right?
That's even an interesting question. Yeah. Is it an emotion?
I would say hope's really easy. Hope is probably felt by everybody at some point.
Yeah, I guess it is an emotion. Happy, sad, mad, glad, your basics, and then you got a lot of other things. It's a state of experience. But I asked the question while I was thinking this. I was like, really, like, how sarcastic are people? How negative are we? How unsure of things are we? We talk about insecurities, man. I think the human condition is raked with insecure states. Even when you're like kind of feeling pretty good about a date, but then you're like, well, but then it ended up that way, or this didn't happen, and I'm unsure. Felt good. I had fun. Did they? I'm not sure. That ain't got nothing to do with hopefulness.
Right. No, that doesn't. But if you find somebody, if you're in the dating game, let's just use as an example, and you find somebody you think's attractive, and you want to ask them to go out for a dinner or a coffee or a drink, and you decide you're going to ask, man, I hope she says yes. I'd really like to sit down with this person But then I see what you're saying. When you're just getting to know somebody and you want them to like you, then you run through all these scenarios in your head. Well, what if she didn't like my? What if this didn't? What if this didn't sound good? Did I say that right? Should I open up the car door for her or let her get in on her own? I mean, there's just all kind of craziness that runs through your head.
Yes.
But the initial, and I guess there's the initial thoughts before you would pop that kind of question because she's going to say no. She's going to think I'm a goofball.
She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me.
But when you actually do post the question, it's like, I hope this person says yes. So, I mean, those negative thoughts I think are going to come and go as they always do or seem to.
I feel like it's really tough to stay in a positive state for any length of time because all of those things creep in. Hopefulness gets crushed real easy.
You have to manage it. You have to manage your mind.
And that's purposeful, isn't it?
It is. We talked about the worm process and ways to do that. There's ways to do that. But yeah, you got to be aware of your thoughts and redirect when the negativity starts pouring in.
Let me tell you something. If you focus on, the 5 passes that I missed in the game, I'm a quarterback, versus the 15 passes that I hit, how are you going to feel?
Yeah, you're going to feel bad. And I think human beings tend to do that.
Right.
My son can have a great baseball game, but if he strikes out one time or drops one ball or whatever, that's where his focus is. And I'm like, dude, you went 4 for 5. You struck out once. Who cares?
Yeah.
I struck out.
Baseball's
what are you talking about? You went 4 for 5,
game.
hit 2 home runs and a triple,
Tough game.
That's just an example. I mean, in general, we do that.
Mm-hmm. We absolutely do. I'm gonna take a stab at a definition. This just came to me when I was pondering. What the heck is this thing even in the first place? Internal. It's much psychobabble, man. Slap me in the back of my head if it's too heavy with psychobabble. All right, you promise?
Oh, I promise.
Okay. Oh, dang, that was too encouraging. Internal locus of control used to make a desired mark on the world or self-encouraged confidence in one's ability to make a positive change or effect. I think that's better than Google.
Internal locus of control used to make a desired mark on the world. What does that mean, dude?
Internal versus external locus of control is a psychobabble word. If you carry a belief or a sense or an experience inside yourself that the world is crashing on me, that's an external locus of control and you feel bad. Internal locus of control is, what? I can do something here. I have, I can control what I can control. There's a lot that I can't control, but the wisdom of the serenity prayer, right?
So you're getting you're getting stoic on us.
Stoic?
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius, isn't he the one that said you have control over yourself and not external events?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know who that guy is.
Once you realize this, you'll find strength.
Okay. Well, I don't know who that guy is, but I think I like his attitude.
Marcus Aurelius, man. He was the emperor of Rome who was also a practicing Stoic.
Oh, dear. Stoicism. I do know about that. That's where it comes from? This guy?
Yeah. Marcus Aurelius, man.
Okay. All right, Mr. Aurelius. Or self-encouraged confidence in one's ability to make a positive change or effect. Hopefulness probably ain't going to come from outside of the world. That ain't likely. Didn't we talk about that almost episode 2 or something like that, right?
Yeah, right.
Contentment, right?
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Listen to episode 2 and you'll see this. You could take contentment and you can replace it with hopefulness with how we talked about it. The outside world does not create a lot of hopefulness. That's unfortunate, but true. We can compliment somebody else. We can praise them. We can help them. We can support them, love them, validate them, build them up, give them compliments all we want. But if you're not, if you're not feeling pretty and I tell you you're pretty, you're not going to feel pretty. Period. If you're not cool and you don't feel cool, and I tell you you're cool, I really think you're cool, you ain't going to feel cool.
Yeah, Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Among other things. I mean, he's got there's tons of stuff out there from Marcus Aurelius. That's a good one.
So let's look at, Craig, why do we really need it? Why is this important? I brainstormed. I got 14 things there.
Well, go ahead. Let's go ahead. I'll ask you a question later.
No, let's go.
No, No, let's go through why we need it, and then I'll ask my question.
Okay, all right. So I'll read it. I'll read my brainstorm. Let's look at them and see what we think about it. You and I, mainly to affect the change in our lives and in the lives around us in order to set goals. Actually, I did not think about that with the short that we did. I already had it written. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I thought we might cover what we talked about earlier here again. So there may not be another episode.
That's really funny.
We'll play it by ear.
Yeah, right. Broke this down between tangible things and emotional matters because that's just the way it kind of worked out. Why do we need it? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know if that's a true statement or not. Because sometimes I think hopelessness may lead us to create goals, which in turn creates hopefulness.
Hopelessness can lead us to set goals?
I think so. I think sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom before you realize you need to make a change, and once you decide to make that change, then you got hope. So when we were talking earlier, you said you were going to lose 50 pounds, 50 pounds next year, and so and that's obviously just something that we were saying kind of on the fly,
right?
But if somebody is 50, 100 pounds overweight, and they're like, my God, I just can't, I look terrible in the bathing suit. I don't have any self-confidence. I've got to do something about this. So then they hire a personal trainer or they download a workout plan and a diet plan off the internet, whatever they do. Now they've got something to shoot for. Oh, man, now I've got a plan. It's in place. I'm eating better. I'm doing some exercise. I'm hopeful that I'm going to accomplish this. I'm hopeful that I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah, if you turn that around, Mr. Coach, I hear a lot of coaching in that.
Well, I mean, I think that's true, right? I mean, you hit right. Sometimes it takes rock bottom before you decide to make a change.
It's an excellent point. It is an excellent point, and I see the term rock bottom comes from the substance abuse world. And you're right. I'm thoughtful of the phrase. You grow the most when you hurt the most. So it is a good point to say hopelessness, feeling desperate, feeling like I got nothing else to push here. Let me go ahead and take a swing. Might absolutely jump into the world of hopefulness when you catch the ball and just swing for the fences, playing loose because whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I think that we don't want to try to create that. We want to kind of get to how do we create hopefulness, because then you get a goal and you get set. But you're right. I see that point. It's an excellent point. We don't want the listening audience to go out. Okay, question for the live chat, right? How do you create hopelessness then?
Well, creating hopelessness is pretty easy.
Oh, gosh. Probably so. Why do we need it? Tangible things, problem solving, parenting, diet and health, finances, healthy marriages, political progress as a society, emotional matters. Why do we need hopefulness? To be assertive and set boundaries, to persist when things are hard, to be consistent, in order to love others, in order to be productive, in order to be loyal, in order to work hard. Those were just brainstorming thoughts. I think that my main idea, that maybe we can look at them some in particular, kind of falls into goal setting like you were talking about. But I think that, in our everyday life and things that we're really wanting to do in this holiday season, man, people are thinking about, the new year, and I want to do this and I want to do that, and I wish this were the case, and I hopeful that this goes on, and I hope I get that good present that I wanted, whatever it might be. I think it is a bit of a core state to operate from in our daily lives with some of these things.
Yeah. But I got a good friend, Jim Faddick. He's listening.
Hey, Jim.
He's probably not listening. But if he is listening, he's got a quote that he says often. Hope is not a strategy. You have to have a plan in place to control the things that you can control. So I'm looking at parenting, right? So I can only control, I don't want to say control my kid, but I can be the best parent that I can be, right? And then I hope that the kid makes the right decisions. I hope Jonathan, Vivian, I hope they make the right decisions. Austin, I hope they make good decisions. So I've done my part, and I hope that they've learned the lessons and they go and have a good life.
Right.
And so I guess what I'm trying to say is hope is not a strategy. You can't just hope that you have good kids without being a good parent. You know,
and I
you
think
can't hope you lose weight without having a plan to lose weight.
And if you feel good about what you're doing, you know, part of what you're saying, I think, is interesting in this angle because, you know, you got to ask yourself, have I done the things? Do I feel good about what I've done? Do I feel good about the actions that I'm taking that creates hopefulness, being purposeful? Because, you know, as your kids gets older, you got one that's older and two that aren't so much yet. Are we doing the things that we feel good about to create a sense of hopefulness about, yeah, I'm pretty confident. I feel comfortable. I feel hopeful that they're going to make good decisions and be, you know, successful in their own way.
Yeah.
That's setting a goal first, and then doing actions creates it just as much as. So we might be saying a lot more of the same thing, I think is my point, than what we thought.
Yeah, I think we are. I think we are saying some of the same things. And I think some of this, though, also goes back to discipline. Like you say, to persist when things are hard, to be consistent. That's just discipline, man. You got to be disciplined in order to do some of these things. I think when we were talking earlier, I said, man, I hope I get up in the morning. No, when the alarm goes off, get out of bed. You know, that's discipline. That's not hope. I hope I get up, you know. If I hope I get up, it ain't going to happen. Because I'll sleep right through that alarm clock, man, and I'll turn that thing off.
Yeah, maybe it's the context of the word, you know. Hope is, you know, hey, I hope this is going to happen. You might as well, in that context, you know, create a sense of saying, you know, I'm wishing. You know, I wish I would get this, or I wish I would get that. Wish. You make a wish. That's kind of takes the internal locus of control out of the picture, right? I don't think hopefulness. I'm not thinking about that in the way anyway of a wish.
Well, I think if you go back to Jim's quote, I mean, you have to have a strategy in order to have things that you want something to happen. You can wish for it, you can hope for it, whatever. But if you really want something, then figure out how to make a plan to get it.
Like, you know, I am hopeful that tomorrow morning my alarm will be set correctly and I'll be at work on time because I'm very confident. I'm very comfortable. I'm hopeful. I'm not wishing that happens. I have a very strong internal locus of control sense about that. And so that makes me feel right now, as I sit here, hopeful about that small little thing.
Yeah.
But if I have inconsistencies and I'm not at work on time and I really don't, you know, have a good track record, I'm not really feeling confident. I don't really feel an internal locus of control because I don't trust, another key word, right, myself to be able to do what it is that I want to do.
Right.
Hopefulness is a state of having confidence and comfort, having an internal locus of control that I pretty much can predict that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I ain't wishing, and I'm not hoping.
And again, I think, you know, I don't know if there's a difference, but some hopes are out of our control. Yeah. I can get up in the morning when the alarm goes off. If I set my alarm tonight and get up, I hope that it's sunny and warm tomorrow. You know, it might be rainy and cold, though. You don't have any control over that, but I have control over the things I have control over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, some of these things I thought that were neat with the emotional matters, you know, the ability to love other people, the persistence, the development of persistence, your idea of, you know, the development of discipline. You know, hopefulness is the state of being able to do those things. And boy, wouldn't it be cool? And we'll talk about it here after the break shortly about how do we really do that? And I think you're right. A lot of it does have a strong relationship to good, positive, solid goal setting and strategy setting with a plan. A plan to do something will really make you feel hopeful.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I teach that financial peace course up at the church.
I was thinking about that,
and that's one of the things I think that class provides, is it provides hope. Because people come in there, man, they don't know where their money's going. They can't speak to their spouse about money. They feel overwhelmed with debt and financial burden. And at the end of the day, when they walk out of there, they got a budget. They're having conversations with their spouse about money items with no, you know, they're on the same page. And they got a plan to get out of it. And they feel good.
Hopeful.
Walking out. Yeah, they're hopeful. You know, so the class is about money, but it's also about hope.
I think it's a lot more about hope than it is money. And that's actually, you've said that before on the show or to me personally. in our life, and that's primary reason why I think that popped in my head on my list here.
Yeah.
Because you can wish I had more money. You can hope I land an extra bonus this year or something, and that's the way. It's very ineffective. But are you feeling hopeful about this year's financial life? Well, if you're taking an active role in it, you're going to feel confident about it. You're going to know what your money is. You're going to know what your budget is. You're going to know where your money's going, and you really feel hopeful about that. You trust yourself.
That's right.
That class, I mean, his concepts, dude. His material is very emotionally driven, and a lot of it is hope development in
100%,
in an active way.
100%.
And I think that's why it's successful.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about this, but could it be said that is like almost the reason, part and parcel, that program is successful? Because it creates hopefulness.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
With the topic that we oftentimes feel hopelessness.
Yeah, money's a big thing, right? It's one of the leading causes of divorce. I mean, money's a big deal. Mm-hmm. So to get control over that gives people hope.
You feel an internal locus of control again there, right?
Yeah.
Within our marriage, I have an internal locus of control together, and that makes me feel so much more hopeful.
Yep. That's exactly right.
And a lot of the other things, you can kind of go along the same route. Trying to have these other things. I think in order to be loyal, I thought that was an interesting one, and it popped into my mind when I was thinking about this. Being loyal or being a hard worker, you got to feel hopeful about that. And when you begin to put those things together, can you really be loyal to a person and loyal to someone else if you're not hopeful? Let's think about that for a second. I hadn't thought about that. It's real and in a moment.
I don't know, man. You got to explain a little more to me.
Can you be loyal? Can I be a loyal friend to you if I'm not hopeful? I can seem loyal, right? I can just grab onto you and grab your coattails and try to be successful or comfortable in life. Just, following around like a puppy dog, this person who I admire, Mr. Craig Graves. Is that loyalty? Or is loyalty like, you know what? We're buddies. We're friends. We're armed in life together, and we're walking together.
I hear what you're saying. I'm just not sure how hope plays into that.
Well, I guess I'm saying it's hard to be positive. It's hard to contribute. It's hard to be a part of something if you're really feeling downtrodden, out of your luck, hopeless, and frustrated. I mean,
so you'd kind of be like a Debbie Downer kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
think of Eeyore, right?
Yeah.
Guess I'll just go eat some leaves.
Yeah, I'm not sure if loyalty plays into that, because you can be. I guess you could be loyal to somebody if you're a Eeyore, but you wouldn't be very much fun, Yeah,
well, I think you'd be a tag-along.
Yeah, you definitely would.
And I think loyalty maybe kind of, you have to have some strength with that. You have to have, an ability to stand in there with somebody. You can't really stand in there if you're not feeling confident and strong and, comfortable with your plan and your actions and your decisions and your practice in life. I mean,
Yeah, I think I see what you're saying. I think I might be with you.
It's a weird concept, but let's move on. Let's move on to what, man? What?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask earlier. What happens when we don't have hope?
Oh, see, that was your question.
That was my question. Yeah,
it's a title.
So I guess when people come into your office, sometimes they're just coming in hopeless, right? My marriage is in shambles. My kid's on drugs. You probably see a lot of hopelessness. Do people use that term in your office?
I didn't plan this, but that's why I like talking about these topics. I mean, listen, I have show notes and I have a process in my brain of where we'll go, but just talking about these things and thinking about these things, and you're bringing that up right now in real time, brings this to light. Yeah, Craig, that sense is a very powerful reality in my therapy room. And it starts right smack at the get-go. Because you couldn't be more right. I mean, at the first therapy session, sometimes people come and they're kind of feeling good. They want to just work through something, and they know the effectiveness that therapy can be. And recently in the shows, we talked about how you might have mental health checkups and that type of thing. So this isn't at all 100% of the time. But a lot of the times, you're right, man. This is the last thing that people want to do is come to a therapy office and talk to somebody about my marriage, or come to you and admit that, you know what, I'm depressed, and I just don't want to live anymore, or I cannot control my behavior and anxiety and my OCD, or admit to you that I literally have garbage bags in my kitchen with hoarding issues, or whatever it might be. And they're coming to a mental health professional, or maybe to a doctor saying, hey, doc, man, I need some medicine, man. I need something, anything, please. Or they might come to a preacher, I mean, hey, man, I need God now. I don't know. I got no other answers. I got nothing. People really do come at these types of things a lot of times in a hopeless state. Super sad. And one of the primary goals that I have, I want somebody after they leave my office on day one to at least have looked at somebody's eyes that can confidently tell them and help them realize that we really can change this. We really can do something about the way that you're feeling. Marriage feels dead. Well, I can tell you, I've seen situations where people have recovered their marriage. And in their mind, they might be, oh, no, wait a minute, you don't know what we've done. You don't know what happened yet. You can't tell me that. You know what? I've seen it. And if the only thing that I accomplish in the first session with somebody is that they get a little sense of like, okay, maybe I can do something here, then I've done more than what I would ever hope to do.
Well, you got to do that though, right? You got to show a little bit of a light, or they're not coming back.
Right.
This guy can't help me.
Right.
I'm out.
Right. It is among probably a couple few other things that pop into my mind that I won't deal with now. It is, though, one of the primary parts of what you're really trying to accomplish.
So lack of hope leads to depression, other things, hopelessness, whatever. I mean, that's not a condition, right? But I mean, that's what we're talking about. But
that's the topic, yeah.
I mean, hopelessness is, you just don't, describe that to me. Somebody that just don't want to contribute, can't contribute.
Yeah, I think what I said here on the show notes is, what happens when we don't have hope. I mean, I think you essentially stop. And the most painful spot that I can imagine people getting into, is what I think I said on the show here. People oftentimes get confused. How can somebody get suicidal? Well, what I've come to kind of realize is people get suicidal because I've tried everything I know, to feel better, and nothing, notice those two words, has changed it. I know I can't live like I'm feeling, so the only option I have is to stop living. That's deep hopelessness. And I'll tell you, by the way, this isn't a show about suicide, but it's holidays, and people do get very down during the holidays. If you're feeling that way, I'm going to submit to you that there is not possible to try everything, because there are so many combinations and so many skills. You can't have tried everything. It's impossible. There's something out there that does work.
Something will help besides drugs or the bottle or
right.
Yeah.
Eggnog's not too bad though this time of year though. But guys, if you're hearing this out there and you are feeling bad, I want to say again, there really is hope. I have seen, Craig, people be at the bottom of their barrel, or certainly the bottom of their bottle in any regard. And sometimes I wish people could just jump in my head and see that part of what I see in my office. I mean, people really get well. I mean, they come in my office sometimes in terrible states of PTSD and trauma and awful situations, terrible stories I've heard. I mean, I've heard so much, and I mean, they really recover. They get better. They deal with things directly. We make a plan, and they heal. They get well. So it's amazing. It's just an amazing thing. to watch hopefulness grow in someone over, even sometimes a few sessions, 3, 4 times. Like, wow, I see things differently. Over a few months or, several months to watch somebody go from where I met them to where they're feeling now it's just amazing. I don't want to get too sentimental, but dude, it's just amazing to see hopefulness grow. What happens when we don't have it? Yeah, uncertainty. You feel uncertain. Politics is on our mind given our personal conversations, Craig, and I wrote political unrest or even revolution, man. If you feel hopeless, you're right. You might have a revolution.
We might have one.
Yeah.
I
mean, that's the way that type of stuff happens.
That's right.
These British people aren't giving us representation, and they're taking our tax money, and I'm mad as hell, and dump the tea. I feel hopeless about this thing, and by golly, I'm gonna take some action and to create hope. Listening audience out there, and Craig, you like to look things up and learn things. I just heard it on a podcast because I'm a podcast listener now. Thank you, Craig. You ever hear of the Young Lords?
I have not.
It was actually on a Science Versus episode that recently was released. These were some young people, youth. I didn't think of playing this either. This is just in the moment. But youthfulness, does that tend to have more hopefulness?
Yeah, I think youthfulness probably goes along with more hopefulness.
A little naivete that comes into that picture as well. It's an interesting mix, but young people tend to be less sarcastic and less negative and less downtrodden, less beaten down by the external locus of control perspective that the world has on us. Listen, the Young Lords was a group that was up in the New York City area. Just look them up. You'll enjoy some of the stories with it, I think, because they were, a bunch of rebel young kids and whatever, but they banded together. You might disagree with some of their methods, but they developed hopefulness. They took action on some things. For instance, at the time, whatever years ago it was, they had a garbage problem in New York City, and they got pissed off that these guys weren't coming to collect the garbage, so they gabbled all the garbage and put it in the middle of the street and burnt it. Got attention, and the garbage problem got fixed. They created community-wide hopefulness, actually. It was pretty neat.
I like it.
Basically, the opposite of why we need it is what happens when we don't have it. Desperate feelings, even leading to suicide, like I talked about, ultimate lack of hope feeling. Let's take a midterm break, or actually a little bit past a midterm break, and then we'll get back with what we really want to focus on, right?
Yes, how to create it.
Yeah.
Let's get hopeful.
So, Craig, we have a throughatherapistsize.com, right?
We do.
We have a way to buy presents, right?
I don't know if they're presents or not.
Are they not presents?
No, we do have a link out there, though, to a great company who sells health supplements. There's 126 different supplements. They're high quality. There's CBD oils and creams and all kinds of good CBD products. We did a show on CBD probably, 6 months ago? Maybe even longer than that. Anyhow, they have anti-aging. They have hormonal creams. They have nutritional supplements. They've got lots of good stuff. It's high-quality products. I know the owner of the company. She's a great lady. And if you are taking supplements now and you want to support our show, then perhaps you could get them from Whole Family Products and support our show while you're at it. So if you're interested in doing that, go to throughatherapisteyes.com, click on the Whole Family Products link from our website, so Chris and I will get credit.
And now back to the show. Okay. So, how do we develop hopefulness? Then is the natural question, and we want to spend a little bit of time on. So let's look at this closely the entire rest of the time. We talked about how it's a matter of perspective. I have developed a little bit of a life quote favorite. I think I've told you about this before. If you really want a dose of development of persistence and getting to an emotional place where you drive yourself into hopefulness, you develop a persistent attitude. I got 2 movies that you want to watch. You got a lot of time during the Christmas holiday season. If you're feeling hopeless and downtrodden and whatever, I want you to watch these 2 movies. You remember when we talked about this, Craig?
I'm drawing a blank.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Okay, my favorite life quote is, at a time with World War II, I believe, it was 2. And the Allies, before America got into the war, were getting their butts flat kicked, Craig. I mean, they were getting wrecked. Hitler had them all on the run. He had them all cornered. He had all the freaking, animals and dogs and cats and roaches all up into one little corner called Dunkirk. You ever watched the movie Dunkirk?
I haven't.
All right,
never even heard of it.
The entire French and British army had been surrounded and was entrapped in one little space called Dunkirk. And it was a story of survival in the desperate times that Hitler was. I mean, he was, like I said, I couldn't believe how close that he was in being successful and pretty much taking over the world. He had the entire military of the British right there, and he was ready to just drop bombs on them, and he was doing it actively. And they survived, because you know the end of the story. And so that determination and that story of survival and what the population did in Britain was amazing. All you guys there in New England, man, that is an amazing reality of what you guys did. And then you follow that up and you watch the movie The Darkest Hour. And what that is about our good friend Winston Churchill. Okay? And it was the other side of the big, channel there on mainland Britain, what he was going through in Parliament at the same time as Dunkirk. And from that movie comes my current favorite life quote. You've remembered my quote, have you not? When you're going through hell. You remember it?
Yeah, keep going.
That's right. Winston Churchill was an amazing person in what he dealt with and what he went through. And you'll really see what I mean by that. So it's a matter of perspective, It's a matter of what you believe, what you think. Like, Craig, you kind of say, what you're disciplined with, what you really are wrapping your brain and body around. That's all. You have that control inside you, So realize that perspective that you have, even when all the chips are against you, even when things look desperate, even when things look over, they ain't never over. You never quit. Never stop. And if you're going through hell, Winston Churchill would say, keep right on going. Right?
Yeah, I like it.
How's that for a raw?
Churchill was cool.
Yeah.
I got to get one of these top hats, man.
You looking at a picture?
Looking him up, yeah. His top hat's cool. I'd look cool in one of these top hats. Smoking a cigar with a top hat on.
That dude earned every cigar he smoked and top hat he had. He was. Oh God, he was up against it. I remember him saying, "You do not negotiate with a tiger when your head is in its mouth." It's great. I mean, and everyone was saying, "Oh no, man, it's hopeless. The game's over. We gotta go talk to Hitler. We gotta save our ass. We gotta figure out how we can negotiate." He's like, no, never negotiate with somebody that you can't negotiate with. You fight on. It was good. It was good.
Here's a good one in today's political climate. It says, "It has been said that democracy is the worst form of government, except all the others that have been tried."
Yeah, we may differ with our opinions and political views in this country, but let's not forget how good we got it, that's for sure.
That's right.
Simple self-esteem developing strategy. I think that if you improve your self-esteem, you will improve a sense of hopefulness. So I've worked with people on this and walked through it with them. You think about how this works, Craig. I'm curious what you think about this in the coaching world, right? So if you identify one thing you like about yourself and you celebrate that, you got to celebrate. That builds yourself up. That creates a focus point, right? You can't just look at all the negatives. You got to look at what you really like about yourself. You can find something. There's hundreds, if not thousands of traits about you, even if it's like, I like the way my eyebrows are shaped. Okay, then focus on your eyebrows, right?
Well, what would you say to the guy that says, "I don't have anything, man"?
I would say that's unrealistic and impossible.
I don't have anything like by myself.
Impossible, because people have said that to me many times, actually. Many times. For real. And then we talk about that. Because like I said, your eyebrows are shaped in the right perspective. And, well, that's stupid. I don't care. Yeah, I like my eyebrows. Who cares? Well, that's a focus point.
I don't have any eyebrows, man.
But then you identify one thing you don't like. And you develop a plan to change it. So you got 2 things, that's all. Thousands of things about you. We're just looking at 2. Let's simplify it, simplify it, simplify it.
So one thing you like, one thing you don't like.
And the thing that you don't like, you work towards changing it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
And then when you accomplish that, you set some goals, you've changed it, and now you look at 2 things to celebrate, right?
Yeah, you got 2 things
you
like
got 2
about
things
yourself.
you like.
Yeah.
And you choose one more that you don't.
It's a start.
It's a start. And you change that 3rd thing that you don't. Do the same thing. You got 3 things to celebrate. You start to feel a little better. You look at the 4th thing, another thing, one thing, only one thing you don't like. And before you know it, you got 15 things that you're really feeling good about and one that you're trying to change. Now, how hopeful do you think you're going to be in that situation?
You're going to be a lot better off than you were before.
That's a simple strategy to manage mental health and increase mental health. Craig, I know you can talk about Fun File.
Oh, my jar of awesomeness. That's not my idea, by the way. But anyway, so the idea is to write down all of your accomplishments. And you can do this in different ways, but I'll just use Tim Ferriss's example. And we'll say we're going to create a jar. Mason jar, whatever, empty coffee jar. Write down the things that you've accomplished in your life, And then when you're feeling down and like you're feeling unworthy or whatever, you go to the jar and you just pick something out. Oh, I completed a Spartan race a couple years ago, Put that back in there. Oh, I've got 3 beautiful kids, So that gives you a way to kind of review what you've done. And when you're feeling downtrodden, you say, hey, I have done some pretty cool stuff.
We forget.
I can do some stuff.
We forget.
We do. We tend to forget. That's right.
Craig, I'll tell you a quick story, to be honest with you. Maybe it's too much self-revelation, but that's okay. I don't care. I have from time to time looked at, I have a fun file. That's what I call it. Feel-good file, rather. Not a fun file. I have what I call a feel-good file. And those are things that I've accomplished, or not accomplished even, but have received or just put in there over time. And I would pull that out from time to time. And I have not pulled it out in a while. I haven't pulled it out for a while at all. And, I was terribly stressed out not too long ago. I mean, I was really just licking the floor, man. When we were in the middle of that move, I won't go into it, but it was a very, very, very difficult situation for me and the company that we run. And we got through it, but in that move, you know how moving is, right?
Yeah, I know how moving is.
You're pulling things out that you never even realized you had, and there was my feel-good file.
Speaking of feeling hopeless, moving's sometimes a hopeless endeavor.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I pulled that feel-good file out at a time that I didn't even intend to.
You probably needed it at that point.
I'm telling you I did. And everything I had going on, Craig. I mean, there was so much going on. I stopped. I sat down on the floor in my office, and it definitely brought more than one tear to my eye at the time. And I just looked at that and looked through it, probably more than I have in a while anyway. And a lot of the items that I pulled out of there, I was just like, dang, man, this is why I do this. This is why I'm going through this. This is why I want to continue really, trying to help people and what Metroline is all about.
Right. Really,
it picked me up. One of the things that's in there is a lady that gave me credit, and I usually look and pull that out because it's a first go-to. She wrote me a letter right when I was out of college. What was it, 1996 or something? Literally when it was doing the crisis hotline that I've talked about, one of my first jobs. And she credited me for helping her at a time, and she was at the end of her rope. She wrote a letter to me thanking me.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and she credited suicide recovery.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff, man.
It really blows my mind. It blows my mind, and I'm sure maybe in some way I was helpful to her that night, and it has created hopefulness for me.
Yeah. So what do you got? Just a file folder with a bunch of pieces of paper in it? How is yours laid out?
I just have a file. It's a file.
Yeah. You can keep a journal. You can do the jar. You can do a file. And there's different ways to do it. You can be creative with it.
Mm-hmm. Fishbowl.
Yeah, that's another one.
Fishbowl.
There you go. Yeah.
So that is a very powerful thing. So we got, as a matter of perspective, look at positive quotes. If you're going through hell, keep going. Simple questions, self-esteem development, rather. Simple self-esteem development. Identify specific characteristics, work on changing them, develop a fun file. How about be purposeful? Exclamation points, man. You see that?
Yeah.
Exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. Don't think that hopefulness is just going to happen. This isn't a wish. We're not talking about a wing and a prayer. We're not talking about a fleeting moment.
Yeah, we talked about creating plans and stuff like that.
It's purposeful.
Yeah, it's intentional.
Seek out those around you in life that will encourage you and cut off those that are critical or negative to you and your goal. Man, nothing can crush hopefulness than criticalness.
Yeah. Yeah, if you got Eeyore out there, you might want to let Eeyore go, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, if Eeyore's in your circle, it might be time to find a new circle.
And nothing against Eeyore. I mean, he's in a good group of friends in that fable and in that thing. And I'm glad that Eeyore has good friends. So I'm not saying just crush people away, but man, you have got to be very aware, particularly when you're in a bad space and you're in a bad moment or in a bad time of your life. You do not need to allow yourself to be around somebody that's criticizing the crap out of you.
Yeah, you gotta be intentional about that, right? You gotta choose people who bring you up, because people will bring you down if you let them.
I think this one particularly is a big deal.
And people will do that. I mean, let's say you develop a plan to get out of debt or to lose weight. What, you gonna lose 50 pounds next year? Are you kidding me? Come on, man. Let's go get a burger.
No, I'm gonna try. Let's
get a burger and a beer.
Yeah. Bringing you down and crashing on your goal.
Exactly.
Instead, hey, Craig, man, you could do it, man. Craig, you got this. I know you got this, brother. Just one more day, one more push-up. Come on, get it. Go after it.
That's right. Those are the kind of people that you need to have surrounding you.
Encouragement.
That's right.
Is the opposite of criticism. And so you really got to be purposeful about looking at your friends. What is it you've said, I think, Craig? You're the sum total of the 5 closest relationships or something?
Yeah, you're the equivalent of the 5 people that are closest to you.
Right?
That's right.
I mean, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And, like we've talked about domestic violence on this show, man. That's tough.
I see people who are miserable in jobs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they talk about going and starting something or getting a new job or doing something. And people are like, well, why would you ever leave such a great job? You get great job and great benefits. But yeah, I'm going to an early grave because of it.
Yeah.
You need people who say, hey, that sounds like a great idea. Well, I mean, not if it's not a good idea, you want them to be honest, but people will hold you back, man.
Misery loves company, and I wouldn't give misery any company.
That's right. That's exactly right.
How's that for a quote? I need to write that down.
That's good.
Misery loves company, and I wouldn't give misery any company.
That's good.
Really, write that down if you would. I don't have a pen.
It's on the recording. We got it.
Ah, good. Yeah. I write quotes down like that. More on that later. It's going to be a good year. Where are we at? 5. Develop trust in yourself, right? This speaks to what you're talking about, Craig. I wrote the idea. Some people don't really trust themselves. So be careful in your thoughts and be careful in your statements. Sometimes it'll help to write it down. Craig, I know you're a big idea or a big proponent of writing stuff down. It makes things happen when you write it down. But do what you say and say what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Solid. That speaks to what we started out on the short, or the intended short, and earlier in the show. It's not a wing and a prayer. This isn't a wish. You want to feel hopeful? Do it. Do what you say. Be purposeful about that. Develop trust. That's the way you develop trust in yourself. You don't just trust other people. You trust your own intent. You trust your own ability. I definitely trust myself, and I'm going to be up on time for work tomorrow. I have that faith. I have that confidence. I have that hopefulness. See, they all work together. There's
another Stoic quote that kind of fits that. So
I
think it was Epictetus. He said, decide what you want to be and do what you have to do.
Stoicism is, as with a lot of pure philosophical perspectives, man, Stoicism has a lot of really neat things in it like that, and probably more so than I realized. I had a guy that I was working with a little while ago in a therapy experience, and I learned a little bit, I should say a little bit, not a lot. I learned a little bit about Stoicism from him. It's
really a cool philosophy, and the Stoics practiced their philosophy. They just didn't sit around and talk about it. And, so like Seneca the Younger was one of the richest men in Rome. And he would dress as a homeless person and live in the streets for a week at a time.
Really?
Just to practice being poor, And he would say to himself, "Is this as bad as it gets? Is this as bad as it gets?" And he would. So they practiced the things that they actually talked about.
Did you do that on purpose? The practice?
What's that?
Look at number 7.
Oh no, number. Yeah, I did not. That leads right into it, though, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Practice. You ever heard that before? Evidently, you have with your extensive knowledge of Stoicism.
Yeah. Practice. That's one of our unbeatable mind concepts too.
Right.
And I would say that part of that practice, we've talked about breathing, meditation, yoga, that kind of stuff on our show. But visualization, man, if you want to lose weight or get a new job, visualize yourself. If you want to get a new circle of friends, visualize yourself around those people. And it sounds wacky doodle, but I mean, when you start seeing yourself in a different way, things start happening that will allow you to realize those things.
Craig, it's not wacky doodle at all. Look at number 10.
I don't think it's wacky doodle, but a lot of people may. Okay, so visualization is.
Look at number 10, absolutely, and speak more about it.
Notes, yeah.
Go ahead, yeah.
But it's just it's a good way to change your self-image and to increase your self-esteem when you see yourself in those situations. And then when those kind of things start to happen, your mind, depending on how detailed you can get with your visualizations and how often you practice, your mind will start believing that you're already there, and things will start happening. It sounds wacky, dude. It sounds woo, if you will. But things will start happening to help you get to that point.
It's absolutely a psychological, powerful reality.
Yeah, it really is.
In some ways, we talk about it. You'll recall the phrase "the self-fulfilling prophecy."
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I watched Free Solo over the weekend. You know what Free Solo is?
I do, because you tried to get me to watch it, remember?
Oh, that's right. You watched the first 10 minutes. So
sitting here trying to watch Fight Night, and you pull out a Free Solo thing. I'm all geared up for that.
We had 20 minutes before the fight started.
Yeah.
But if you don't know what that is a documentary film about Alex Honnold, who a year or two ago climbed El Cap in Yosemite National Park with no ropes. He free soloed the rock face. And for 2 years, before he did the free solo, he would climb that route with a rope. And he talked about how he was visualizing himself being on the wall with no ropes, so that when he actually pulled this thing off, he's already been there in his mind.
He was talking about that in the documentary?
Yeah, and I watched an interview with him on, he was on Jimmy Kimmel shortly after the movie was released. And Kimmel asked him how he trained. Now, this is a guy who's climbing a 3,000-foot cliff. And you might say, well, I do all this cardio and I'm lifting weights and doing pull-ups.
Do finger exercises to strengthen my fingers, yes.
Yeah, his hands look funny, man.
Oh, my God, they're huge.
Yeah.
They're huge.
But he said his number one training tool is visualization.
That's what he said?
Yeah,
number one?
Absolutely. He said his number one training tool is visualization.
Wow.
And I was amazed by that.
That surprises me, too.
It would be a physical component.
Some sort of balancing act or yoga?
No, his biggest training tool, he said, was visualization. Huh. And I was blown away by that.
The mind is a powerful thing. When you unleash the power of your mind on what you want to happen, it has a tendency to happen.
Yeah, Tiger Woods, when he was a kid, and all through his life, I guess, has used visualization as part of his golf training.
As has Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan, same thing. When Tiger was a kid, he and his dad would visualize that he was on the 18th green at Augusta. Yeah. When he was practicing putts.
Well, Denny talked about this with exercise. I was kind of blown away at the way he talked about visualization being used with the Blue Angels.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that he was talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going through the whole script, sitting in a chair, using afterburners in the sky, 5 foot away from each other, and they're visualizing this thing the whole way through.
Navy SEALs do the same thing. So when they went in for that Bin Laden raid, they built a compound. Of course, they didn't know what it looked like inside, but they built a compound. It might have been in North Carolina. And anyway, they did hundreds of training missions hitting this compound before they went into Pakistan and got Bin Laden. I mean,
and you might think that this is just a physical thing. No. All of these things, however number we're on, these are specific strategies, active, purposeful things that you do to develop hopefulness. You might think, well, it's just a physical thing. No. When you want to accomplish something, you visualize it before it happens. Dave Ramsey talked about in their group. Dan Miller did, I think, in their mastermind group. They developed a plan to visualize how they wanted to be, and they had everybody in their group attend this party. And he described getting into it, right?
Yes.
And they rented cars, they bought the best suits and whatever, and they said, come to this party as you will be in 10 years.
Jack Canfield did the same thing.
Powerful.
I think it's in his book Success Principles, and that was one of the things. Yeah. And they had a future party.
Mm-hmm.
And people who were like trying to be authors or were writing books, they actually had mock-up books printed. And so when they're at what do you do? I'm a New York best-selling author. Here's my book, And they just kind of played this game where they were already where they wanted to be. If you start seeing yourself that way, you start believing yourself, and that starts giving you hope. That's what we're talking about here.
Not a wish.
That's right.
It's a plan. It's action. It's hope. Right? Practice. Back to that. I didn't get a chance to say. I mean, if you practice hard, you're practicing hard. What better hope than absolutely already knowing you can do it? Because you've already done it.
Right.
That's hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hit a home run. I've hit it 50 of them.
Or give a speech or whatever. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I've absolutely given the keynote address at the university graduation.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it.
Mm-hmm.
So go do it.
That's right.
Get good examples of others who have already done what you want to do. Learn how they did it. Be a good student, right?
Yeah.
Man, I think we're running out on time. I want to spend more time on these things because they're so powerful. I think each one of these ideas, I think we could do a whole show on them, honestly, Craig.
Tony Robbins is big about saying what you just said. He says, if you want to be successful, find somebody else who's done it and just copy them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, let me tell you how powerful it is. And I looked this stuff up. This is powerful. Find examples. If you believe it can be done, you'll be able to do it. If you don't believe that it can be done, you won't be able to do it. I would maintain that. And we see this on May the 6th, 1954. This guy named Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute barrier for running the distance of a mile, I believe, in 3 hours, 59 minutes, and 4 seconds. That was part of his training. Oh, listen to this. I didn't even realize this, Craig, but he relentlessly visualized the achievement in order to create a sense of certainty in his mind and body. I did not put those two things together till right now, but he visualized running the under a 4-minute mile. Well, listen, 1954 is what I said, right? How many times do you think people have run in the Olympics or run a mile or been documented at their length and speed for a mile? They've been trying to run and kept track of times since the Romans created the Olympics, Craig. Has the human body changed that much? I would argue
no.
Right?
Right.
So barely a year after Bannister's accomplishment, someone else ran a mile under 4 minutes, right?
Well, I was just trying to fact check that. I think there was more than just one. I think multiple people broke the 4-minute mile shortly after Roger Bannister did it, within 6 months.
I'm not going to say this definitively because I would need to look it up. Craig, right now, today in 2020, go ahead and Google this. What is the average professional runner's speed or time for a mile? Because I think nowadays, if you don't run under a 4-minute mile, you suck in comparison to your competitors. Right? He's looking that up, and I think that's a true statement. But that's my point. Yeah, for years, centuries, multiple centuries, people just didn't have hope. They didn't have hopefulness about this. It can't be done. They said the human body's bones and muscle structures do not work. You cannot physically run under 4 minutes a whole mile. It can't be done. Guy did it. Now many people have done it.
It says elite marathon runners average a mile in 4 to 5 minutes.
4 to 5 minutes. So it is a pretty special feat still.
Yeah, but those kids, I mean, I have I taught Let Me Run, which is a little after school running program with a friend of mine, and her son went to middle school and ran on the track team in middle school, and I think his time was like 5:15, and he placed like 7th.
A kid.
And I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Yeah. I mean, he ran like a 5:15, and I think he placed 7th. And I was blown away by that. I mean, those kids are smoking it. I'm trying to find out. I do believe that there were more than just the one. Less than 6 weeks after. Yeah, Roger Bannister did it on May the 6th, 1954. Less than 6 weeks after Bannister's historic feat, Australian John Landy runs at 3:58 at a track meet in Finland. August 7th, 1954, the Empire Games in Vancouver, Canada, pits the two Titans against one another at an event called the Miracle Mile. Bannister outkicks Landry. Still, that's the same guys. June 1st, Don Bowden ran it. And then it looks like it didn't happen again until 1964. But you had 3 guys. After Bannister did it, 2 more guys did it in 1954. No, I'm sorry. That is right. So one guy did it in 54 and one guy did it in 57.
Oh.
And then it happened again in 1964.
Well, this says in the 65 years since the mile record has been lowered by almost 17 seconds and currently stands at 3 minutes 43 seconds, 3 hours and 43 minutes and 13 seconds by Hicham El Guerrero of
3
Morocco.
hours? What? But that's not a mile. What is that?
3 minutes. Well, yeah, you're right. Jeez, I can't. The numbers. 3:43.13. Okay. The point really being, once somebody did it, multiple people did it. Nobody did it in many centuries prior.
Right.
And the bones and muscles and whatever didn't change.
Yeah, 3 minutes and 43 seconds is the current record.
That's what, at 13 seconds.
Yeah.
13 milliseconds, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's incredible.
So, man, it's just powerful. So look at what we've got. You have the ability inside your psyche, in your body, in your God-given ability, brain, and whatnot, to be able to create a sense of hopefulness. It's a matter of perspective. Find positive quotes if you're going through hell and keep going. Simple self-esteem strategy. Find one thing you like. Find one thing you don't. Change the one you don't and celebrate the 2, and so on you go. Fun file, fishbowl, write down a fun journal, whatever it is that your successful feelings come from. Be purposeful. Seek those in your life that are encouraging, not crushing, and critical. Develop trust in yourself. Do what you say and say what you do. Get information. Ask questions. Many questions. We skipped one. Number 6. Get information. Ask questions. Many questions. I didn't even get to cover that as we went through it. Real quick comment on that. Information is power, right? Get information. When you want to know about something, you want to get good at something, go research it. Go read about it. Go get into it. Get your passion. Go after it. Practice, practice, practice. Try new things. Interestingly, you can't know you can do new things until you do. Then you develop hopefulness because you know you can. You already did. Get good examples of other people that have done it. And visualize. See it. Visualize. See it before it happens. I am looking forward to 2020, Mr. Graves. It's been a joy to do this show with you. Not only tonight, but for the 69 episodes that we have so far. You got anything else? Or are you ready to take us out of here?
That's it. Let's go, man.
All right.
DoItTherapistIze.com. We have entries for each show there. You can also find us on any podcast platform. We would be very grateful if you would subscribe and leave us a good review. Links to social media off the website. And I think that's it.
You want to sing for us? Merry Christmas!
We want to keep listeners. We don't want me to sing.
All right, guys. Have a great holiday season. We'll talk to you next week.